morning, folks. It is Saturday. We are now ready to leave the Grand Villa Resort here in Las Vegas. I'd say our stay was pretty nice. It's only one night. The rooms were large. I would say that the only downturn to this place is being that it's basically a timeshare resort. There's not a lot of amenities. The pools are very nice. There is a little snack shop where you can get hot dogs and burgers and some snacks and things like that. But there's really not much more. There's no real shop to go into or any other little place to get things to eat or anything like that. However, as I showed earlier, it's right next to the South Point Hotel Casino. That has everything you need. It's an easy walk. It's just right next door. That has an area inside of there that is sort of like a combination gift shop and liquor store and things like that. So if you're somebody who wants to buy some beer or some kind of other drinks or anything like that, you can buy it there. It was very reasonably priced. I'd say, for a 6-pack of beer or something like that, $7-8 for like Coors or things like that. So very inexpensive. You can buy all kinds of wine and things like that, and then just bring it back to your room. But I'd say the place that we're staying here is really geared toward people who are going to be staying for several nights. They have a kitchen, so you're going to go somewhere to buy groceries and do that. But overall, it was a pretty nice day. Now, on our way to St. George, it is about 2 hours, I would say, about 110 miles. It is going to be windy, I can tell you, standing here. That's why I'm kind of in a little area here that's protected. A lot of high winds today, so that's what I'm expecting, at least driving out to St. George. So we'll continue the video then. Well, hello, folks. We are here in St. George, Utah. It took a little over 2 hours. We stopped very quickly in Mesquite just to, take a little rest stop there. But we are here as I anticipated. A lot of wind coming here. The roads were quite windy, the freeway, especially the open areas in Nevada. As we got through Arizona and got through the mountains a little bit in the higher elevation, it was still windy, but not quite as bad. And the drive went from basically boring to really nice. Going through the canyons there was quite beautiful. And, made it here in very, very good time. Just to tell you, once you hit Arizona border, the time does change. So keep that in mind. You'll lose an hour. But overall, a great drive here. So what our plan is, we can't quite check in. We got here about 1 o'clock. Check-in's about 2 or 3 hours from now. So we're going to drive around the area and begin to explore St. George. So come on along. I've driven out of St. George, about 3 miles away to Santa Clara, which is a neighboring town. And we want to check this area out because it just seems to be a lot greener, a lot of trees, and the homes look different. I don't know how much more they are than living in St. George, but we're going to check that out. We're over here at this produce market, and we're going to check that out. There's one right behind me here. They're building in their main parking lot, but then across the street is their main building. We're going to go check that out. So we're walking across the street here to their main building. Right out here, the main street there, that's Santa Clara Boulevard, and it's right off there, but their parking lot was right behind us, so a lot easier to park than right in front of the building. So let's go across here. Got a little market here. Maybe we'll find something to eat. Maybe check out their produce. I don't think we're going to really buy anything since we're just on a trip here. So let's go over here and check this out. All right, so here we are. This looks fantastic. This is all, from what I understand, locally grown produce, just about anything that you could want. And I can tell you, you know, judging at the prices, this is a little bit less expensive than what we would find in our area of Orange County for sure. Lots of melons here and some onions and just all kinds of things. Pineapple, I don't know if they grow pineapple locally here, but you know, they have the outside market here and then in the inside, so let's check that out. I got some samples here. Looks pretty good. Gotta always sample watermelon, which is probably one of my favorite things in the world. Oh, very good. Excellent. All right, as we walk in here, they got some dried fruit, breads, all kinds of spices, jams, just about anything you could want from a farmer's market. Corn relish and all. Really kind of neat. And if we were to ever live in this area, we'd be here often. These are kind of fun. I don't know if you've ever seen these. These are popping corn. They're on a little cob like this, and you put them in a bag and put them in the microwave, and it makes popcorn. A lot of fun. Some cheeses, cheese curd, sodas. I think I might get one of these. Dad's root beer. I love it. But yeah, you can see all the cool things in here, candies. Really nice. I like this little shop a lot. As I said, it's just right off the road, as you can see out here. So this is Santa Clara Boulevard. And despite how hot it is in this area and the winds, this area, you can see these just tree-lined streets here and homes right across the way. It feels so much cooler here. Very, very nice. We made it over to Balc Bear Diner here in St. George for dinner. Never been to one of these, even though they are throughout California, and there's some fairly close to us, so gonna go in and see how good it is. All right, as you walk in, go past all these bears out here. You can take a little photo with them. Kind of neat. Neat area to wait. I don't know about today when it's really hot and windy, but nice little waiting area. Okay, let's head in. So we just walked in to have dinner at the Balc Bear Diner here in St. George, Utah. Strange, it started in California, the Balc Bear restaurants, but we've never been to one. The one closest to us would be by Knott's Berry Farm. There's one in Fullerton, La Habra, all over. We've just never been to one. Sort of has kind of a Cracker Barrel vibe as you walk in with the shop here, or t-shirts. You want some rock jewels if you want. And of course, they have hats and merchandise, and you can choose your music. You can, it looks like you can use Google Play or the App Store for that. And I really kind of like it. I like the vibe. They got a lot of little bears around here. And as we turn this way, it's really got kind of a rustic cabin look to it. And over here, we've got some clothing. And oh, I love the socks. There you go. So yeah, pretty cool. Well, we just ordered our dinner, and we'll sit down with that in just a moment. My salad came. I chose the bacon ranch dressing and the Thousand Island. Comes with cornbread. I ordered chicken fried steak, and Joanne ordered a taco salad, so that'll come in just a moment. Okay, so I got my chicken fried steak. Look at the size of that. I mean, that's as big as my face. It is huge.
My hand for steak.
Yes, exactly. And this is Joanne's taco salad. I would say one of the biggest taco salads I've ever seen, honestly. And very reasonably priced for all of this. So we're gonna dig in, and then afterwards we'll tell you how it is. Well, okay, we just got through with our meal. It was excellent, very good. A lot of food. Both Joanne and I are taking probably half of our food back to the room, and hopefully we'll get a chance to eat it. We ate kind of early out here just because of the long drive. We didn't have lunch, so we'll hope to enjoy it later. But it is very good. Highly recommend it. As I said, they're in California. There are really many areas throughout the country. So if you're near one, I think they are much, much better than Cracker Barrel, so give them a try. So we made our way over to the historical district of St. George, and we're going to go into Ancestor Square and see what shops are still open. It's right up ahead there. That's kind of neat. Sort of a found object horse. I like it. All right, here's a map, and we're gonna make our way in, and I'll just kind of briefly show you around. Some of the shops may have closed already or are gonna close pretty quickly. So I'll just kind of show you what it looks like. Walking in, this kind of reminds me of an area of Laguna Beach. There's a little shopping area. I think it's off Forest Avenue in that area, but that's kind of what it reminds me of. Really nice cool breeze. Almost like going into a small little town. Very, very nice. I like this a lot. Some kids playing over there in the park. I'll just give you a pan. Take a look around. There we go. I don't want to show the kids too much playing, so I panned really quickly by. Well, we have stumbled upon St. George Ghost Tours, so we signed up for it. So we're going to go around, and the gentleman inside said they take you around the historic area, show you all the buildings, and of course tell you all about the paranormal in this area. I'm not going to do too much because I think there might be kids on this tour, but I'll take a few little videos here and there. But seems like fun and a good way to see the historic district. So that's our tour guide, Terry, and as we walk between each destination, he gives us a riddle to see who can figure it out. And really nice area. This is beautiful. We're learning a lot. As I said, I don't want to take too much video because we do have a child in the group, and I don't want to do that or interrupt the other people. So we're moving on to the next destination.
The way to get up there was me to crawl up on the roof. Yeah, so we asked the owner, well, how come you don't crawl up on the roof to get up in the attic? And she said, well, will you do me a favor and then I'll tell you? In 1861, Brigham Young assigned 300 families to establish St. George. And so he had them come down here, and after they came down here, he came down 5 years later, and they just had all their houses wiped out from a flood. And he said, oh man, he said, you guys are in bad shape. I'm going to get you some goals so you can get some goals and get going again. He said, you're going to build a temple, a tabernacle, you're going to build a opera house, and a house for me, and a house for you, and a house for you. Welcome. And these industrious pioneers in 9 years built a lot of these buildings that we're going to see on our tour. Had 2 accidents right here. And both of the drivers said the reason that they crashed is they swear they saw this buffalo's head move. So your next riddle is, the more you make, the more you leave behind. What am I? The more you make, the more you leave behind. Right this way. This is the Pioneer Museum. If you look on your phones, you'll see a portrait of John D. Lee that's inside the museum. The museum has portraits of a lot of the early pioneers that were here in St. George. It also has a lot of other memorabilia. Right underneath the picture of John D. Lee, you'll see a picture of a Nauvoo Legion drum that's inside the museum in a glass case. And right underneath it, you'll see a picture of a 150-year-old silk dress that's inside the museum. So the museum used to be open into the evening, But some time ago, when they were closing in the evening, they started seeing a lady in a dark dress in this window over on this side. And it freaked them out so much that they started closing at 5 o'clock. Well, a year ago, they had a problem with their furnace. So they called around and found a guy that could fix the furnace that day, but he was booked up all day and he could only come at 10:30 at night. And they said, nobody's gonna open up for you at 10:30 at night. And he said, no problem, just give me the keys, I'll go in, I'll fix the furnace, and I'll give you the keys in the morning. So they said, okay, if you want to. So he got the keys, he went down into the basement, and he was working on the furnace down there, and he heard boom, 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 and he knew that it was that Nauvoo drum, and he knew it was in a glass case. So he got a pencil and a piece of paper, and he said, I'll come back next week during the day. And he came out and he locked up the building. The basement are 4 jail cells with no window access. And on the top is a French-built cupola.
So our guide was saying this is the courthouse, goes back to the late 1800s, and the cupola at the top was actually used to hang people. There's a beam up there, and so they would open those shutters, and the person that was found guilty was hung up there in the cupola so all the public could see. Kind of reminds me of the Haunted Mansion, the way they have the cupola. You have the hanging spirit as you go into the stretching room.
1989, it was purchased by the Judd family in 1910. They had it as a soda shop until 1985. It was the longest family-run business in St. George. Many people who've been on the tour have said, yeah, that used to be an elementary school across the street, and my dad went there, and he used to come over here after school and get a soda. What's interesting is some people have seen a lady in a dark dress go in the back door of Judd's late at night. Mary Ann used to be one of the cooks. I come here after the 9:30 tour at midnight, and I park my truck right here in hopes that I can get somebody to come out and give me gas for 26.5 cents a gallon.
Well, we just completed our tour in the historic St. George area. St. George Ghost Tours, you can find them online, stgeorgeghosttours.com. Our tour guide, Terry, was fantastic. It was $25 a person, well worth it. You can go online and find out when they do the tours and at what times and all of that. And you know what? We've done a lot of ghost tours before. We've done it in Colonial Williamsburg, San Diego, and other places as well. Even if you're not into the ghost tour part of it, you know, you think it's silly, you don't believe in that sort of thing, that's fine. What these tours are really about are kind of getting to know the area. You learn about these historic buildings and the stories behind them. And of course, there's a little fun ghost story thrown in as well. So I really recommend this. Whenever you're maybe going into a city, you don't know much about it, you want to learn a little bit about the central area, the backstory to the town, the historic area, look up a ghost tour, because they are a lot of fun. You can learn a lot and just have some good fun along the way. Well, good morning in St. George. We found this Cafe Fiolo, which is right next to where we took the ghost tour last night, and put our order in. Tell you, this is really nice in here. It's kind of like a Starbucks, but so much more. They have full breakfasts, you know, homemade pastries, all kinds of coffee drinks, lattes, juices. Just really cool inside. I love the chandeliers. So yeah, I just want to take a quick little video here on our last morning in St. George. We're going to be on the road to Cedar City pretty soon. But I just want to show you this. There's a lot of people in here and kids, so I don't want to show too much of it, but there is outdoor seating. You want to sit out there, and plenty of seating here, all kinds of different places, but really cool. So we're going to sit down and have our meal. Okay, I got my avocado toast, avocado, bacon, tomatoes. Looks like there's some sprouts on there. Looking pretty good. We are in St. George Town Square Park. We're just going to be here for a little bit of time this morning, and then we're going to head up to Cedar Creek, probably stopping on the way at a little town called Hurricane. We want to check that out, and just thought we'd walk around here. It's a beautiful morning, a lot cooler this morning, and this is really a very nice park. So up there is splash pad up there, so I don't want to really go up there. A lot of kids this morning. It is Sunday morning here in St. George. Pretty low-key and quiet, although we did find some coffee shops open, and the ice cream places are interestingly open already. But a lot of stuff to do up there for kids. A little play area, splash pad. But over here, look what I found. There is a carousel. This is really cool. Now, it's not open right now. I don't know if it opens later today or not, but I did not expect to find that. Really very nice here. And then panning around, just a beautiful park. It is gorgeous here. Some artwork down there. You can see kind of a scrap metal sculpture of a guitar, and lots of open areas here for picnics. I'm sure they have lots of events down here. Looking down there, that is a war memorial, it looks like. Yes, it is. And you can see in the background some of the hills. This is the home to Utah Tech, nicknamed the Dixies. You can see the D up on the mountain there. And I did learn yesterday, one of the reasons that the name Dixie is so prevalent here is because originally this was settled by Mormons that were coming from Arkansas, and being that this was southern Utah at the time, Utah Territory of course, they kind of nicknamed it the Dixieland of southern Utah. So that's why that name has really stuck. I'm a little confused about that when we first came here. Why are we seeing everything with the name Dixie? There's Dixie Power Company and other things as well, just nicknamed Dixie. So that is why. But what a beautiful area. So just off the main grass fields of the park is this beautiful gazebo. City of St. George Historic Sculpture Garden. There's some people relaxing in there, so I don't want to go in there and really get close to that, but you can see some sculptures here. Very nice. What a great area just to come out and relax, especially on a Sunday when there's not a lot open in St. George, and just walk around. And here's a closer look at the War Memorial. Very nice. Let's see what the plaque says here. So this recognize the Gold Star families and the legacy of their loved ones who paid the ultimate sacrifice while serving in the armed forces of the United States of America. So very nice. And there's some other plaques around here, people who donated to this memorial. Let's check out, let's see if there's anything on the other side. Yes, there is. Gold Star families. A tribute to Gold Star families and their relatives who sacrificed a loved one for our freedom. There are a lot of sculptures all over this park to explore and see, but I think this one is probably my favorite. So just off the town square here and this wonderful park is the Tabernacle. We saw this on our tour last night, and the guide was saying this was built back in the late 1800s. The clock at the top there, top of the clock tower, that was actually brought over from England. He said back then, obviously, most people did not own timepieces, so that was their way to tell time and, see what kind of events were going on by the sound of the clock and all. And to this day, this tabernacle is still used for events and meetings and music. Well, folks, that ends our short time here in St. George, Utah. We were here for maybe, I'd say a little less than 24 hours, but we got a very good look around, especially on that ghost tour last night, and kind of got a feel of the area. We went up to Santa Clara and Ivins, which are towns that are just right next to St. George. Looked around up there. Really a nice town. This is somewhat of a college town with University of Utah, the Utah Tech, but we really did like it. Kind of a nice vibe around here. Obviously much more relaxed than what you would find where we live in Southern California, but I really did like it a lot, and we had a good feel of what's around here, and it's a very, very nice place. So whether or not you are just coming up here to visit, or like us, maybe looking at a potential place to live one day, or passing through, maybe your kid ends up at Utah Tech, I can recommend this town for any of those reasons. So check it out. Thank you very much for tuning in to Day Tripping with Ken. Now we are on our way up the road to Hurricane, not too far out of St. George, and then Cedar City, and that'll begin our part 2 of our Utah trip videos. Thanks for watching.